Welcome back to Infinitia Verity, your portal into the forgotten histories of the world. Today we embark on a journey to uncover the incredible and often overlooked civilizations that thrived in pre-colonial America. Long before European settlers set foot on the continent, the Americas were home to vast and complex societies, whose influence and achievement spanned science, architecture, agriculture, and governance. These indigenous peoples didn't just exist. They built monumental cities, tracked the stars, conducted trade across vast distances, and cultivated the land with innovations that rival the best agricultural methods used today. From the Olmec stone sculptures in the tropics to the skyward-reaching Pueblos in the American Southwest, these civilizations have left indelible marks on history. Join us as we pull back the curtain on these societies, shining a light on their forgotten legacies. By the end of this video, you'll never look at pre-colonial America the same way again. But before we dive in, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more intriguing content from Infinitia Verity. Our journey begins around 3,500 years ago with the Olmec civilization, which many scholars regard as the mother culture of Mesoamerica. The Olmecs laid the foundation for later cultures like the Maya and the Aztecs, and their innovations can still be traced in these more familiar civilizations. But who were the Olmecs? The Olmecs flourished in the tropical lowlands of what is now modern-day Mexico, particularly in the states of Veracruz and Tabasco. Their society began to take shape around 1400 BCE and lasted until around 400 BCE. What is perhaps most striking about the Olmec culture is their ability to create massive stone sculptures, including the famous colossal heads, which could weigh up to 40 tons. Carved from basalt, these heads are thought to represent the faces of their rulers, though their true meaning remains a mystery. Transporting these enormous stones across rough terrain without modern technology demonstrates the ingenuity of their engineering capabilities. Some of the quarries were as far as 50 miles from where the heads were found, and yet they managed this feat without the wheel or pack animals. Yet the Olmecs were more than just stone carvers. They developed one of the earliest known forms of writing in Mesoamerica, though much of it remains undeciphered. They also created the first calendar system, predating even the Maya. Their complex society was characterized by a deep connection with nature and the supernatural, with their jaguar deity often depicted as a human-jaguar hybrid, playing a central role in their religious beliefs. The jaguar was not just a powerful predator, but also a symbol of the underworld associated with water and fertility. Interesting facts. The Olmecs are credited with the invention of rubber ball games, an early form of the Mesoamerican ball game, which would become a staple of later cultures like the Maya and the Aztecs. The games were not only a form of entertainment, but held deep religious significance. Olmec traders were highly influential, establishing vast networks that reached as far as modern-day Guatemala. Archaeologists have found Olmec jade, obsidian, and pottery spread across Mesoamerica, indicating that the Olmecs played a central role in regional commerce. The Olmec civilization may have faded away, but their influence reverberates across centuries. Many symbols, practices, and ideas they developed were adopted by later Mesoamerican cultures, embedding the Olmecs firmly in the foundation of the continent's pre-colonial history. Next, we turn our focus to one of the most famous indigenous civilizations of the Americas, the Maya. The Maya were not a single unified empire, but rather a collection of city-states that dominated Central America for over 2 millennia. Their civilization spanned modern-day Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. While the Maya are often remembered for their elaborate pyramids and complex society, they were in many ways ahead of their time in science, mathematics, and the written word. At its peak, the Maya civilization was a society of philosophers, mathematicians, astronomers, and artists. They developed one of the most advanced astronomical systems in the world, charting the movements of the sun, moon, planets, and stars with incredible precision. Their calendar system, a combination of a 260-day ritual calendar and a 365-day solar calendar, was so accurate that it only required minor adjustments when compared to our modern Gregorian calendar. The Maya also used hieroglyphic writing, one of the few indigenous writing systems in the Americas. This allowed them to record their history, religious beliefs, and daily life on everything from monuments to pottery. These writings offer us a glimpse into their world, a world filled with rituals to please their gods, bloodletting ceremonies, and the perpetual struggle for power among city-states. But the Maya were more than just observers of the heavens. They also excelled in mathematics, particularly their understanding of the concept of zero, one of the earliest uses of zero in human history. The Mayan numeral system, based on a vigesimal base 20 system, allowed them to perform complex calculations, particularly in astronomy. Interesting facts. The Maya city of Tikal, located in modern-day Guatemala, was one of the largest and most powerful city-states in Mesoamerica. It had a population of over 100,000 people at its height and was home to grandiose pyramids, palaces, and public plazas. The Maya ball game, known as Pocatoc, was more than just a sport. It had deep religious undertones, representing the cosmic battle between good and evil. In some instances, the losers, or even the winners of the game, were sacrificed to the gods, demonstrating the central role religion played in their society. Despite their advanced knowledge, the Maya civilization mysteriously collapsed around the 9th century CE, leading to the abandonment of their great cities. Theories for this collapse range from prolonged drought to internal warfare, but the exact reasons remain a subject of ongoing debate. Moving forward in time, we arrive at the Aztec Empire, perhaps the most powerful and militaristic of the Mesoamerican civilizations. The Aztecs rose to dominance in the Valley of Mexico in the 13th century, and by the time of Spanish arrival in the early 16th century, they had created one of the largest and most sophisticated empires in the Americas. At the heart of the Aztec Empire lay the island city of Tenochtitlan, a marvel of engineering and urban planning. Built on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, Tenochtitlan was connected to the mainland by a series of causeways and aqueducts, with a complex system of canals running through the city that earned it the nickname the Venice of the New World. At its center stood the Templo Mayor, a twin pyramid temple dedicated to the gods Huitzilopochtli and Tlaloc. The Templo Mayor was the focal point for religious ceremonies, including the infamous human sacrifices that were intended to ensure the continued favor of the gods. The Aztecs were not only fierce warriors, but also skilled engineers and agriculturists. They developed chinampas, or floating gardens, which allowed them to grow food on the surface of Lake Texcoco. These artificial islands, made by piling soil onto reed mats, provided a reliable source of food for the rapidly growing population of Tenochtitlan. Interesting facts: Tenochtitlan was home to around 200,000 people at its peak, making it one of the largest cities in the world at the time. For comparison, London during this period had a population of around 80,000. The Aztecs practiced a unique form of tribute collection, where conquered city-states were required to pay regular tribute in goods such as food, textiles, and precious metals. This tribute system allowed the Aztec Empire to thrive and maintain its dominance over much of Mesoamerica. Despite their formidable empire, the Aztecs would meet their downfall at the hands of Spanish conquistadors led by Hernán Cortés in 1521. With the help of indigenous allies and the devastating effects of smallpox, the Spanish were able to topple the Aztec Empire, bringing an end to one of the most remarkable civilizations of the Americas. While Mesoamerica often steals the spotlight in discussions of pre-colonial America, the indigenous civilizations of North America are no less remarkable. One such civilization is that of the ancestral Puebloans, formerly known as the Anasazi, who lived in the arid regions of the American Southwest. Between 900 and 1150 CE, they built the massive and mysterious complex at Chaco Canyon, located in what is now northwestern New Mexico. Chaco Canyon was not just a city, it was a center of commerce, astronomy, and religious ceremony. At its peak, Chaco housed multi-storied buildings, with some structures reaching 5 stories high and containing hundreds of rooms. The most impressive of these buildings was Pueblo Bonito, a D-shaped architectural marvel that stood at the heart of the Chacoan society. This intricate construction, spanning over 3 acres, was the largest building in North America until the 19th century, demonstrating their impressive engineering capabilities. The ancestral Puebloans were not only skilled architects but also expert agriculturalists and astronomers. Despite the harsh desert environment, they created a sustainable agricultural system by building extensive irrigation canals and using dry farming techniques. They cultivated crops like corn, beans, and squash, the three sisters of Native American agriculture, that could thrive in the challenging conditions of the region. One of the most fascinating aspects of Chaco Canyon is its astronomical alignment. The ancestral Puebloans constructed buildings and roads in alignment with the solstices and equinoxes, suggesting that they had a profound understanding of celestial movements. The famous sun dagger atop Fajada Butte, for example, marks the solstices with a dramatic display of sunlight slicing through petroglyphs, highlighting their sophisticated knowledge of astronomy. Interesting facts. Chaco Canyon's extensive network of roadways, some of which stretched over 400 miles, suggests that the ancestral Puebloans had a well-developed system for long-distance travel and communication, linking outlying communities across the Southwest. Recent studies of Chacoan society have revealed that they practiced a form of matrilineal descent. Power and influence were passed down through the female line, offering a unique glimpse into their social structure. While Chaco Canyon eventually declined, likely due to climate change and resource depletion, the ancestral Puebloans didn't disappear. Their descendants, including the Hopi, Zuni, and other Pueblo peoples, continue to carry forward many of their traditions to this day. On the other side of the continent, another incredible civilization was flourishing along the Mississippi River. The Mississippian culture, which existed from around 800 to 1600 CE, was characterized by its complex chiefdoms, mound-building architecture, and extensive trade networks. At the heart of this culture was the great city of Cahokia, located near modern-day St. Louis, Missouri. Cahokia was the largest city north of Mexico during its height around 1050 to 1200 CE, with a population that may have reached 20,000 people. This was a massive urban center, larger than London or Paris at the time. Cahokia is best known for its earthen mounds, with the largest, Monk's Mound, rising to a height of about 100 feet and covering over 14 acres. Monk's Mound was topped by a wooden structure that likely served as the residence for Cahokia's ruling elite, or as a religious temple. The Mississippians were highly skilled agriculturalists, cultivating large fields of maize that supported their growing population. Their city planning and organization were nothing short of remarkable. The layout of Cahokia was carefully designed to reflect cosmological beliefs, with plazas and mounds arranged in a grid pattern and oriented with the cardinal directions. A wooden structure known as Woodhenge served as a solar calendar, much like Stonehenge in England, allowing the Mississippians to track the solstices and other celestial events. Interesting facts. Cahokia's rulers had a complex social and political structure, with a chiefdom system that divided society into distinct classes. The elite class lived atop the mounds, while the lower classes resided in smaller dwellings surrounding the central plazas. The Rattlesnake Causeway was an elevated roadway that stretched for nearly a mile, leading from Monk's Mound to the east of Cahokia. The exact purpose of this causeway remains unknown, but it is believed to have had ceremonial significance. For reasons that are still not fully understood, Cahokia began to decline in the 13th century, and by 1400 it had been largely abandoned. Scholars speculate that resource depletion, political instability, and climate change may have contributed to the downfall of this once great city. Yet, like the ancestral Puebloans, the Mississippian culture's legacy persists in the traditions and stories of Native American tribes that trace their ancestry to this ancient civilization. As European settlers began to arrive in the Americas, they encountered the powerful Iroquois Confederacy, also known as the Haudenosaunee, in the northeastern region of what is now the United States and Canada. The Iroquois Confederacy was formed between the 15th and 16th centuries by 5 and later 6 nations: the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later the Tuscarora. These nations banded together under the Great Law of Peace, forming what is arguably one of the earliest forms of democracy in the world. The Iroquois Confederacy was governed by a council of chiefs, with decisions being made through a process of consensus rather than majority rule. This method of governance was remarkably progressive, considering the time period. Each nation within the Confederacy retained its sovereignty but agreed to work together for mutual defense and political stability. In fact, it's widely believed that the Iroquois system of government influenced the framers of the United States Constitution, particularly in its emphasis on federalism and the balance of powers. The Iroquois were not only skilled in governance but also in diplomacy and warfare. They established trade relations with European settlers, trading fur and other goods in exchange for firearms, metal tools, and textiles. Despite their relationships with European powers, the Iroquois remained fiercely independent and played a significant role in the balance of power in colonial North America. Interesting facts. The Iroquois Confederacy's political structure was unique in that it incorporated female leadership. Clan mothers held significant power as they were responsible for selecting and deposing chiefs, reflecting the matrilineal nature of Iroquois society. The Iroquois were master builders of longhouses, large multi-family homes made from wood and bark. These longhouses could stretch up to 200 feet in length, housing multiple generations of families. The Iroquois Confederacy's ability to maintain peace among its member nations and its sophisticated governance model stands as one of the most remarkable achievements in pre-colonial North American history. These ancient civilizations, from the towering pyramids of the Maya to the urban wonders of Cahokia, offer us a glimpse into the incredible diversity and complexity of pre-colonial America. While much of their history has been obscured by time and conquest, the legacy of these indigenous peoples continues to influence the world we live in today. Their achievements in agriculture, architecture, governance, and astronomy remind us that history is far richer than the colonial narratives we often hear. If you found this journey through pre-colonial America as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Infinitia Verity for more deep dives into history's hidden chapters. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's continue exploring the forgotten histories of the world, one civilization at a time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.